Let's now take you back to our top story, which is about India's external affairs. The Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, briefing India's lower house of parliament about how India and China ties are on the path to some improvement because of the recent successful disengagement agreement along the line of actual control that's taking place in October. And he's also said that the next item on the agenda will be de-escalation, apart from other issues. Let's talk about it. We have with us again Pinaki Chakrabarti, India's former High Commissioner to Bangladesh, as well as Secretary MEA. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Chakrabarti. What do you make of the latest statement in Parliament that the External Affairs Minister has made, which is indicating that there is a sense in India that there is a path to improvement that India and China ties are on, provided a lot of other milestones are crossed?
Well, I would say we should keep our fingers crossed, because it's still not very clear that this process is going to succeed in the way that we want it to succeed. Because China is unpredictable, and as you know, what they did in Galwan was unpredictable. And it all is also tied up with the geopolitical developments that are happening across the world. Particularly the incoming administration of Donald Trump, because he has said various things about China and how to honor China, etc. Now, I think whether that is that those issues are factors, I would say certainly they are, but also that China has also, I think, come to the realization that to make India a permanent enemy is perhaps not in their interests. They are perhaps also deciding that if we can do a deal, which we have been discussing, and some kind of a deal has been reached, but my sense is that we are still not fully satisfied, and clearly there are some loose ends that need to be done. And we have, of course, said that unless the border is settled, the relations will not be settled, in the sense that other aspects of the relationship will not be allowed to be continued. That it cannot be normal without the LAC being normalized or transparent. It being transparent in the sense that we know where we are on the LAC, whereas China's position is that you put that aside, put it in a different box, and let us go ahead with our economic and other engagements. India has obviously not agreed, and India has made it very clear that unless there's some solution to the LAC, at least particularly going back to the status quo, normal relations with China are not going to happen. And I think that's the position India has taken. And that has put some pressure on China because of the other events like the incoming Trump administration, which has decided that it is going to be pretty heavy-handed on China and various issues. So I think those are some of the factors that has led to China and India reaching some kind of, understanding on the LAC in Ladakh.
Yeah, but why do you think China has been compelled in this manner to see India's point of view that there can be no business as usual as long as this issue remains unaddressed to our satisfaction, and we're yet to be satisfied? What are the reasons for that?
Well, as I said, there are geopolitical reasons. The incoming Trump administration, the expectation that pressures on China are going to increase, and hence China feels that if India can be kept more neutral, it might be better for them. Those are some of the issues that China and the reasons that China must be considering. And they have also realized that the way India responded to the Galwan and other provocations by China is that they know that they can't get a walkover. And India has developed certain facilities and the deployments that have been done and India has shown that it can react to these kind of things very quickly. And India's border roads and other organizations are developing the border infrastructure in a manner that has probably worried China, because China always thought that it had an upper hand, and hence they were not worried that. But today they don't feel that. And I think that is one of the reasons why they are willing to enter into some compromise.
And you feel that India should keep pressing the advantage and then take this further on in terms of how the engagement should be pushed forward to resolving outstanding issues of the border, where the SRs are supposed to meet, and then at the levels of the foreign offices as well, apart from the fact that we still have a lot of resumption of different activities that are taking place between India and China to begin, such as the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra.
Well, both have certain things on their side. I mean, leverages, call it what you like. And but we have made a beginning. We're getting back to normal slowly, and obviously both sides will keep looking at that incremental kind of milestones being reached in terms of normalizing relations. And as you said, the SR and other things, if they are restarting, then it would mean that, okay, there are some things, but restarting of SR doesn't mean that everything has been solved. It's just another way of saying it, okay, we are engaging again. So hence, a certain, one more step in having normal relations. But it's going to be a long haul. Let us not be any very optimistic, because I think it's going to be a long haul, and it'll all depend on also China's geopolitical situation, whether China feels that it can compromise for the moment, and then a few years down the road it can feel that that it need not compromise anymore. So those are some of the variables that exist. And
in terms of equalization of ties, in terms of the kind of trade and business ties that India and China have, China still has a huge trade advantage. Do you think that is also something that India will ask China to look at least remove some of the non-tariff barriers that it puts in place, not just India, but principally India would be concerned about that, but other countries too?
Well, yes. I mean, those will be part of the negotiations, part of the step-by-step or gradual, normalization. We have also taken some steps banning, Chinese apps and things like that, and also more or less banning further Chinese investments. Now, China cannot ignore emerging and a growing economy like India. For China wants to export. They built their whole prosperity on exports, manufactured exports particularly. So if they want to expand the market in India, they will have to consider that there'll be reciprocal kind of arrangements that have to be made to allow Indian exports, because the adverse balance is so much. But then it's okay. I mean, exports and imports do not have to match dollar to dollar. But we need certain things which China produces, so we get it. Because ultimately that also adds to our supply chain inputs that go into exports. This is an old thing. But then the adverse balance and Chinese policy of having non-tariff barriers and other things have to be looked into, and India must insist on reducing those non-tariff barriers, so that Indian exports can also find increasing markets in China.
Yes, India is also boosting its own manufacturing and other capabilities. So this issue might also come up in days to come as we move forward in an incremental manner. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about it, Pinaki Ranjan Chakrabarti. The path to improving ties between India and China is one that is to be treaded with caution, and that's what it seems India will be doing. Thank you.
Thank you.